Oh, wow, guys. Wow. Wow. It is officially code red. Code red, my friends. This is absolutely bananas. This is how you try to win a Stanley Cup, my friends. This is how you say, I'm pushing my chips in and we are going to try to win a Stanley Cup. That is what the Carolina Hurricanes told the entire National Hockey League tonight. They said, you know what? We liked our team, but we don't like them enough. We are going big. We are going big. And the Carolina Hurricanes went out, and Eric Tolsky in Carolina said, we're going to make a splash. And I'm just trying to see the final. He goes out tonight and gets not only Taylor Hall, gets Mikko Rantanen. Who saw this blockbuster coming? Complete blockbuster. The Avalanche were kind of pressed against the wall. Supposedly, Rantanen's agents want some ridiculous amount of money. Supposedly, like $14 million. There's been a report. I don't know if that's true. But, wow. I mean, talk about drawing a line in the sand. The Avalanche were like, okay, Rantanen is going to be an unrestricted free agent. There is no chance we could pay him the money he wants. Let's cash him in and get somebody else. And wow. To the Canes, Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall. To the Avalanche, Martin Necas, Jack Drury, a 2025 second-round pick, a 2026 fourth-round pick, all from Carolina. And then the Blackhawks get a third-round pick. It was their own pick returned from the Hurricanes. And they're taking 50% of Rantanen's salary. My God. Talk about, wow, the Blackhawks just paying through the nose to get the third-round pick. So essentially the Devils could have had Taylor Hall for a third-round pick, 100%. Completely crazy, and I'm not going to lie, after seeing the return, they're paying 50% of Rantanen's salary to get the third-round pick. I think he's making he's making 9.25. So you're talking about the Blackhawks are going to pay $4.6 million in change to get the third-round pick. A third-round pick straight up from the Devils would have gotten Taylor Hall. And I have to say, I wasn't super hot on Taylor Hall, but I said for a third-round pick, how do you not try to get him? He definitely makes the offense better. I don't care what anyone says. I wasn't expecting the Hart Trophy NHL MVP Taylor Hall. We don't need him to do that to make the Devils better. There's clearly guys on our roster that if you said, would you rather have this guy playing or Taylor Hall? You're going to pick Taylor Hall, even, in the twilight of his career here. And not only did we miss out on Taylor Hall, he goes to our division rival. This is war. This is a declaration of war. I've hated the Canes for years. I need a drink, guys. Cheers. I don't even have a glass. I ran on here. I was trying to enjoy a nice Caesar salad and a little chicken Romano at the local cheesecake factory. And I'm looking at my phone. I'm seeing all this come in, and I'm like, no way. Cheers to all of you. This is a depressing night, straight up. One of my ideal trade targets for the Devils comes off the board, and he goes to the worst possible team. I mean, I probably would have been more pissed if the Rangers got him. But outside of the Rangers, the Canes is the next worst team in our division. And I hate to say it, if we play the Canes in the playoffs, Taylor Hall is going to light our asses up. It's insane. It's insane. He was just a throw-in. They played broker to a bigger deal, and the Blackhawks paid 4.6 in change, like I said, to get the third-round pick. Fitzy could have just thrown him a third-round pick and taken Hall down. I don't know what the hell's going on. I think this was a big miss. And again, not only do we not get him, he's going to the Canes, who I absolutely hate. And I didn't want to play them in the playoffs just because of how much they've had the Devils' number. And now you're talking about they've added Rantanen and Hall and traded away Natchez. Wow. I mean, wow. Unbelievable stuff. So again, for those of you that just came in here, the Hurricanes have gotten Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall in a modern-day blockbuster. And to the Avalanche, Martin Natchez, Jack Drury, a 2025 second-round pick, a 2026 fourth-round pick, all from the Canes, and the Blackhawks get a third-round pick, and they're paying 50% of Rantanen's salary. Completely insane. Wow. Absolutely crazy. What a missed opportunity. I would have loved to give a third-round pick for Taylor Hall. I would have loved it. In other news, Alexander Holtz has been sent to the AHL. He's been sent to Henderson of the AHL. Just a random side note. Alex Holtz. If there was any of you, wondering if the Devils won that Paul Cotter trade, I'm here to tell you they absolutely did. Both Akira Schmid and Holtz now playing for Henderson. I believe the Silver Knights of the AHL, but wow. Oh, man, what a dark night. What a dark night. A monster miss. And a division foe just got much stronger. Wow. I'm in shock. What's going on, Anson Meadows? Code Red. Yeah, this is a Code Red. Brendan plays. This is our playoff opponent. More than likely, there's a very good chance it could be. And they just loaded up the choppers. Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall. Antonino, we cooked. I don't know about all that, but this is not gem card collecting. All that to lose round one to the Devils. That would be quite a story. But I don't know. I am now even more afraid of them than I was before. SST with his normal Fitzgerald hate. Ryan 200 YT, Taylor Hall is back. No, he's not. That's why there's a big Hurricanes logo on the thing. He is a Carolina Hurricane, a division foe. Antonino, Russo, Dog, and Nemitz would have got us Mikko. I mean, that wouldn't make any sense. He wants too much money, and he's an unrestricted free agent. This is a rental, guys. Rantanen could leave the Canes after the season. He wants tons of money. I don't know if the Canes are going to try to pay him, and maybe they haven't even thought that far ahead. They are pushing their chips in the middle, and Carolina is saying, we want a cup, and we want one this season, and this is absolute balls by their GM. Just putting his balls on display, looking to just make a push. And I'm sure Canes fans, loved Natchez, but if you could get Hall and Rantanen, I mean, you do that every time. Alex, absolutely crazy. Who hurt the Canes? Wow. Tyler, Hall of Fame fleece job. Evan, Carolina just got better. I absolutely agree. Devin G, no more Natchez dives. Well, maybe he'll be diving out there, but we're not going to see him do it against the Devils as a member of the Hurricanes anymore. Yo, Holmes, I hate these effing guys. I hate them so much. Ryan, boy, oh boy, you better get JT Miller or we are cooked. I think he's going to the Rangers, guys. I hate to say it. I think he is. Joseph, splashes don't always work. You're right. They don't, but sometimes they do. And the Carolina Hurricanes have shown that they are willing to take that chance. They are putting it all on the line, and they are going for it now. That is a win-now move. The definition of a win-now move. NJ Swampfox, Mikko wants $14 million a year in the offseason. Yeah, exactly. It's psychotic. They might be looking this as a rental, and they're just going for it. And they'll say, okay, I don't know who's going to pay him $14 million. Even with the cap going up a ton, reports are the cap's going to go up $9 million, but still, to give a guy like that $14 million, I mean, when is it going to end? Wow, I'm just in shock right now. Rantanen with 25 goals, 39 assists for 64 points in 49 games played. It's about 1.3 points a game. Jesse Shannon, Taylor Hall can rot the Canes locker room from the inside out. Enjoy NC. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he is going to pipe down and play his role and look to get a Stanley Cup. Wow. SST, Canes got Hall for free. Fentanyl Floyd, hey, we're getting Hall back soon. Fitzgerald, probably. Anson, Carolina is like the Emperor to our Jedi Order, and this may be our Order 66. I know that's a Star Wars reference. I'm not a Star Wars guy. Vic, crazy trade. Yeah, it really was. JD, Hall was free. The pick was for retention. Crazy. Completely crazy. Kane said, let's go. Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. This is nuts. Cheers, Jerome. Alex has emergency meeting. In on Miller. I mean, listen. It's a tough one. I think JT Miller would fit on this team great. But that contract and his age is a little scary. Oh boy, guys, this is nuts. Gem card. We were playing Carolina round 1. It's worse than the Rangers. I mean, it's not definitive, but there's a very good chance. Wow. Gem card. We are most definitely playing Canes round 1. I hope not. Carolina looking scary as hell. SST Fitzgerald must be waking up tomorrow and thinking, how is it gonna cost me to get Hall from Chicago? How much? Yeah, be a little late for that. Val, the Hurricanes are a very well-run organization. The Devils, not so much. I mean, listen, this could end up being not a full disaster, but this could end up not panning out for the Hurricanes, obviously. Taylor Hall is old, and Rantanen very well could leave in free agency. So they could have lost Natchez essentially on a big push gamble to try to win the cup this year. I mean, Natchez was only signed through next year anyway, but yeah, you're losing, the playoff push with Natchez this year and all of next season. Pro Bolt saying Devils are out on JT Miller. I don't know how anyone would know that. Anything that's reported to me until it's final, people are like, oh, this person said this. Like, people lie all the time, especially with shit like this. It's crazy. I don't believe anything till it happens. And I certainly don't believe when people say this is not going to happen. There's been countless times where GMs have said, oh, we're not trading this guy. And then he gets traded like a day or two later. Vic, Sarah Valley tweeted this trade wasn't the biggest thing on the table within the last 48 hours. I wonder if the other big deal is involving JT Miller. I mean, very, very good chance that it is. And it seems like he wants to go to the Rangers. And I think it would make sense for the Rangers to try to make a play on him too. What they would give up for him, I have no idea. Alex, do we hope Carolina wins the division so we play Washington? At this juncture, I think I really would. Especially now, I definitely would rather play Washington than the Canes personally. Evan, Rantanen is a free agent after the season. Yes, he is. And the reason the Avalanche traded him is because supposedly they were trying to sign him long-term. And the report is that he wants $14 million a year. So the Avalanche were like, no, thank you. We will trade your ass. And that's what they did. Antonino, Carolina going all in. Got to respect it. Hate to see it, though. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anson, like the feed, guys. 100 plus watching. Yeah, thanks. Hit the thumbs up for your boy on the emergency broadcast as one of our hated division rivals just got substantially stronger tonight. Derek, Canes rented Gensel and now renting Rantanen. Yeah. SST, Canes have loads of money to sign Rantanen. No, for sure, but still, do you think they want to pay? I mean, is he really a $14 million player? I mean, that's really going to set the bar then for all the guys going forward. The salaries are just out of control. I mean, at some point, this has to stop. And then the reality is they keep raising the salary cap and doing all this shit. A lot of people don't realize, I mean, a lot of you do, but a lot do not, that this all comes at the expense of the fans. What do you think pays these astronomical salaries? It's the ticket prices. The ticket prices are, in 10 years from now, it's going to be $400 cheapest ticket to go to a game in a major market. It's insane. I mean, McDavid's making 12 and a half. You're going to pay Rantanen 14 and a half. I mean, somebody might. I wouldn't want the Devils to. I'm sure a lot of Carolina fans are excited about this playoff push, but, depending on how he plays, I'm curious to know what people will say about re-signing him at that kind of money. J. Todd, what about Trent Frederick from Boston as our 3C? A lot of people have been talking about Frederick for a while. I just don't think Boston's going to ever sell. They're third in their division right now. I think at worst case, they'd be clawing for a wild card spot, and I can't see them trading him for whatever they would get versus keeping him for the push. What's going on, Amagi? Who do you anticipate at this point, Ace, with Hall and seemingly Miller out of the picture? I mean, listen, it's still early, but this is a preemptive strike, in my opinion. A very early strike. We're still nearly 6 weeks away from the trade deadline, and Carolina was like, "We're doing this now. We're not going to wait. We're taking Hall off the board, and we're getting Rantanen, seemingly out of nowhere." Wild stuff. Wild stuff. I don't anticipate it's going to be a big splash. And I've said from weeks ago, I didn't anticipate Tom Fitzgerald making a big splash, and it would be more of like bottom six type guys. And I think at this point, he might, I don't think he's going to overreact and be like, oh, Carolina loaded up, so I have to follow suit. But when you see one of your division rivals getting substantially stronger in one foul swoop 6 weeks away from the trade deadline, you got to be thinking, like, I can't be sitting here playing pocket pool. It's time to push some of these chips in. I'm not saying to make it crazy. This is somewhat of a large gamble move. But, wow. I mean, wow, oh, wow. Talk about going for it. Vegas Golden Bettman, it's going to be like Marchessault leaving Eichel. Once McKinnon isn't feeding him, he's not going to be good. Well, we're going to find out. I think a lot of guys, get that harsh reality that they were not necessarily the full product of a very good teammate, but, that their teammate or line mate specifically played a big part of their success that is not easily replicated elsewhere with other players. That very well could be the case. But with that being said, I mean, Mikko Rantanen's a stud. I'm sure he's going to put up points. Maybe he'll dip off a little bit, but I wouldn't expect, like a massive drop from him. He's an elite player. Brubsby? I don't know. I would love for the Devils to make a big trade like this. Well, wow. Wow. Is Fitzy sleeping on these trades? I mean, I just feel like, they basically gave Taylor Hall away. Like a third round pick would have easily brought him here. And I'd do that in my sleep. I mean, I'm not even considering that. A third round pick for Taylor Hall. I think that's the type of low risk, high reward move that you should look to make. I mean, I think Taylor Hall could have been, and it can't be anything anymore other than a division foe. But I thought Taylor Hall could have been a middle six potential with the potential to slide in with Jack and Bratt. Potentially. I feel like he's one of those guys you could have put anywhere. But wow, man, this is a little bit of a stunning situation, and the Hurricanes are jacked up right now. Jesse, if Hall wasn't such a locker room cancer, why are teams constantly trying to give him away? Guy is a cancer and a trash player. Jesse, you don't know what you're talking about. They're not trying to give him away. He's an unrestricted free agent after this season, and the Blackhawks are going nowhere fast. So they trade him to get something out of him. There's no point in it. And then them keeping Taylor Hall. He doesn't fit their timeline for their rebuild. They're going to suck for a while. They weren't going to re-sign him. And so there's no point in hanging on to him. Their season's gone. They would rather trade him and get a pick. And that's exactly what they did here. And they paid for the luxury. Joseph, one guy on a team that wants $14 million is locker room cancer. I can't necessarily get on board with that either, Joseph. All these modern athletes are out for the money, man. They want as much money as possible. I'm not going to say it makes them locker room cancer. It makes them somewhat greedy, but, it is what it is. This is professional sports now. Vic, I really wonder if this trade will provoke Fitz to trade for JT. I don't think so. Richard Zimmer, SOB, what a move. Damn it. What a move. Val, what are the Blackhawks doing? They're just dumping all. They're just trying to accumulate assets, man. They're going nowhere fast. Party Burgers, I think we should pass on Miller, honestly. I could make the argument for both. In reality, long-term wise, at $8 million at his age with all the years left, it very well could be the next contract that you look at in 2, 3, 4 years from now, and you're like, oh my God, this contract is terrible. Much like people are saying about Andre Palat and Dougie Hamilton right now. That JT Miller contract kind of has that written all over it. With that being said, if you could get 3 pretty good years out of him, that gives you 3 cup runs, essentially. And so if you win a cup off a move like that, then in my opinion, it doesn't matter what the hell happens if the contract ages terribly. If he sucks, it doesn't even matter. That's a ballsy move where you're going for it. For JT Miller, I would entertain it depending on what they're looking for in return. Because I do think the contract will end up being bad. The cap is going up. That's something to keep in mind. But depending on what they're asking for in the trade would that would determine whether I wanted to do it or not. But I do think it will age terribly. With that being said, again, it puts you in a very good place to compete for a few years. NJ Swamp Fox Rantanen's only 28. Jesse, why are the Rags looking to add? They are trash. They never make any sense. Jesse, have you paid attention to anything going on? The Rangers are knocking on the door of a wild card. Shesterkin had 2 shutouts and gave up 1 goal in the 3rd game. He was the star of the week. The Rangers are on fire. John, if we're out of the Miller sweepstakes, let's get Gordy as 3rd-line center and Frederick from Boston. I wouldn't mind those. Evan says, my bet it'll backfire on the Canes. It very well could. Go Boro, what's going on? Very old horse, but Brady is in a rut right now. I saw that. No points in like 9 games or something. They're not getting rid of him. Keeping up with the Devils, I don't know what to think. You need to think that our division rival's loading up. Richard Zimmer, what are we waiting for? Damn it, we need it to be a war. I don't know. We're going to see what Fitzy does. Louis, Fitz said no dickheads. How does JT Miller fit that mold? Well, the other thing is I don't think Fitz is going to bring anyone into the organization that he doesn't kind of vet thoroughly. And so there is a lot of history of guys throughout the history of the league, essentially, that have had problems in multiple cities, and then they finally get to a destination where they kind of blend in. I don't know that, I don't think Fitz is going to make any deals that he thinks will interfere with locker room chemistry or, the group at large. And so if he was to make the deal, I would have to believe that signifies he did his due diligence and doesn't believe it's going to be a problem. But wow. Jay Snow, seems like Miller's going to the Rangers now. That was always, kind of what it seemed like from a couple weeks ago, that they were at least going to be involved. Devin, Biz just teased Sydney to Avs. I think Biz is just having fun. I think he's going to be on the Pens forever. Dire Wolf, really hate seeing Mikko in our division. The guy's an absolute animal. Got to tread water and keep a top 3 spot with Markey out. Absolutely. Keeping up the Devils, I'll take Washington 10 times out of 10. Yeah, I'm there with you as well. Spaghetti Legs, they've got the cap to resign. Aho might help secure him. Rantanen not worth $14 million. Jakey, man, this feels good as a Kane fan. Congratulations, Jakey. I have to imagine as a Canes fan, you're ecstatic for this. I mean, this is Tulsky showing we're going for it. We're making a push. Michael, Fitz shouldn't F around with any consolation prizes. Go get Brady. The Sens are not going to trade him, guys. I gave up with it. I gave up on it. Evan, Devils can beat them if they play physical. That's a big if. It's a lot of ifs. Carson, Ace, we finally just made a huge push, getting the 5th best player in the league. Tulsky is a mastermind. I don't know. We'll see, right? In the moment, I don't know if I'm going to call him a mastermind, but I'm going to call him ballsy. I'm absolutely going to call him ballsy, and sometimes that's what you need in this world. I don't know that Tom Fitzgerald has it in him to make a deal like this. But again, what are people going to be saying about Tulsky if the Canes get knocked out in the 1st or 2nd round? I don't know. But, the one thing you can say is that he didn't try. Val, Devils play physical? LOL. Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. Go Boro. Yeah, I'd be paying $14 million for someone who consistently does 120 points a season. Dire Wolf, Holtz got sent to the AHL. I mentioned that earlier. Nothing to see here. Chicago's covering half of Mikko's cap. Crazy. The Blackhawks paid $4.6 million for a 3rd-round pick. Louis, will Rantanen be the same player without Mac? I think it'd be a mistake to bet $11 million on that gamble. Oh, Louis, it's going to be more than $11 million. It's going to be, he wants like 14-ish after this season. Jay Snow, we have to pick our game up. Brooks writing the Rangers should have the sights set on the Devils, not a wild card. That would drive me nuts if they caught us. They're right there, guys. Be realistic. This is why I said in the video a couple days ago that I am hitting the panic button. Our lead has evaporated. We've played 50 games and have 60 points. The Rangers have, and I'm not just talking about the Rangers specifically, but just all these teams on our heels. There's tons of teams there's 3 teams, Canadians, Sens, and Rangers, with 48 games played and 52 points. So if any one of these teams won both of their games in hand, which is not crazy to think, they're at 56 points, giving us a 4-point cushion between potentially falling into a wild card if the Rangers did it. I mean, wow. This is going to be an insane end of the season. I really think there's going to be a lot of excitement. Eric S. Can't wait for those $400 nosebleed seats. I at some point it's you're going to literally have to be rich to go to sporting events. It's a damn shame. It's slowly happening over time. Alex, Ace, we usually agree on most things, but I'll bet money Carolina re-signs Mikko. You don't make that move without him being re-signed. Oh, they're probably going to try, but you could be right. It very well may have been kind of talked about before the deal was made. But 14 mil is a lot. Maybe they do it. Maybe they don't. But in reality, all they're essentially doing at worst case is if they flame out and they don't re-sign him, they essentially got Rantanen for Natchez for this year and then lost. If Rantanen leaves, they lost Natchez for next year. So, I mean, if you look at it that way, it's a loss, but it's not totally crazy if you're really trying to win a cup right now. Officially, man, 992. Hope the Devils don't face the Canes because they've been looking scary as hell since they have Hall and Rantanen. Yeah. It's pretty wild. It's an arms race out here. Sukeet, you think Avs will pick up Mitch Marner in free agency? I have no idea. He's another guy that's going to want, 12, 13 million bucks probably, and I'm not paying him that money either. He's a little too soft for my personal liking, and I would like a more physical guy for that kind of money. Canes took big swings on Gensel last year and Mikko now. Hope this doesn't make Fitzy make a knee-jerk stupid trade for JT Miller. I don't think he will. Go Boro. I think Marner resigns for 13.5 in Toronto or he goes to Minnesota. That's interesting. For Devil, it's a flash move, but I'm not sold that's what the Canes needed, and now they are pinned to the cap. Wise discernment. Rance has 4 100-point seasons in a row, but he's definitely not worth 14 mil. I mean, but here's the thing. Someone's going to set the bar, and then the prices are just going to keep going, right? So they're using Connor McDavid. It is crazy that these teams can't be like, listen, Connor McDavid's getting $12.5 million. No one in the league should make more than that. So, like, we'll give you the same or $12 million. But to think that you deserve $1.5 million more than McDavid is crazy. And again, the escalation of these salaries getting out of control with the cap going up, it is all going to just continue to cost fans more money to go see NHL games live. Alex, 14 million is crazy work. He's worth 12 and the cap being pushed north. Why not overpay? And that's how it goes, guys. To get some of these guys, you got to overpay. Jesse Shannon, what we need is another junkyard dog. I definitely agree with you there. If we could somehow clone Stefan Nason and Paul Cotter once apiece, that'd be great. Why is the sermon crazy that Hughes is $8 million per? Yeah, Fitzy gave him that deal kind of before he really deserved it. And it worked out. It worked out well. Bo says rumors of Crosby moving. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that's Paul Biznasty, Bissonette having some fun on the internet. Jason says Crosby ain't moving. Yeah. Why is the sermon? We don't need Taylor Hall. I didn't say we needed him, but for a 3rd round pick, it would have been a real nice move, in my opinion. Why is the sermon? We need more junkyard dogs. Alex, who's our trade chip to make a blockbuster like this? I don't think we make a power move like that, though. Just some depth. No, I never thought the power move was coming. And the trade chips primarily are probably going to be, either picks or, they tried to shut down the Nemeth stuff, but that doesn't mean anything to me. If the right deal comes along, I'd imagine Nemeth would be available, but the Devils are going to try to keep him in the organization. I'd imagine they're going to do the same with Seamus Casey, but if someone comes knocking and a deal materializes, maybe Casey gets moved. Chico, in my opinion, Rantanen and Aho are going to be very good together. I don't think Rance falls off. I think he elevates Aho. Wow. Evan's Life, Brock Nelson, 3C. So it's funny. If you guys haven't seen it and you're an older fan or at least a longtime Devils fan, I went to a VIP dinner the other night in honor of Jacques Lemaire the night before his Ring of Honor induction. If you haven't seen it, check it out on the channel. But I did talk to Lou Lamoriello, the architect of the New Jersey Devils back in the day. And I talked to him at length. And when I was wrapping up talking to him, the last thing I said to him before I left was, I was like, it was great talking to you, Mr. Lamoriello. And if you want to send us Brock Nelson for peanuts, we'd love to have him. And he started laughing about that. I would like Brock Nelson, but again, it's got to make sense. Like, I'm not giving up a monster piece for him. And I think teams might overpay to make that push. Jay Edwards, why would Chicago do this? 50% of Rantanen last year's salary and Taylor Hall for only a 1/3. Yeah, it's brutal. They were desperate. They're paying $4.6 million essentially for a 3rd round pick. SST says our core will get it done in the afterlife. Horrible. For Devil, I will say this cap retention crap is messing up the NHL cap. Total BS. The teams can break through the cap by finding a bottom feeding team to take the money. Yeah. If you're not maneuvering like this, you ain't trying. And I would love to see, back to the JT Miller thing. If somehow we could compensate them, to retain on JT Miller for all those years, it might be worth exploring because essentially you're paying assets to It is circumnavigating the cap, in my opinion. I mean, what the Devils got penalized for with those low years of the Ilya Kovalchuk contract, essentially teams are doing variations of that with all of this stuff. JT Miller with retention, that would be interesting to me. He's got a lot of years left, so I don't know how realistic that is. But Chico, wouldn't mind Fitzy bringing Palms back and maybe taking a flyer on a project player a la Zegras. Oh, no, definitely not Zegras. Maybe not him exactly, but an example. I just don't see any big moves out there after this. I never thought Fitz was going to be looking for a huge splash. I always thought it was going to be more of depth pieces. Louis, Devils need any trade to have retained salary or someone somewhat significant needs to go the other way. Hall's a $6 million hit. Who would have gone the other way with the third to open up another 4 or 5 mil? Well, let's just see. What is our cap space as of right now? Not to mention Markstrom. You could put Markstrom on LTIR. Yeah, so now our deadline cap space is projected at $4 million, and our current cap space is $2 million. NJ Swamp Fox would rather get Nelson over Palms. I agree there. Jay Snow says the Devils are out on Miller. I don't know how you would possibly know that. Vegas Golden Bettman, 4-dev, the bottoms got to do it to hit the minimum. That's why the Yotes kept taking injured players that weren't going to play anymore. Yeah, there is a cap floor. Jakey, how do you feel about this trade as a Devils fan? I hate it. I mean, how would I like it? The Canes definitely just got stronger. Go Boro. SST mentioned a guy a while ago, Ryan O'Reilly. Would he be worth a punt? Yeah, absolutely. But again, what is he going to cost? If he's being dealt, I'm certainly interested in him. He would be a great third line center for the Devils. But I feel like there's going to be a bidding war for him. Chico says Heard Miller going back to the Rangers. That seems to be a lot of people are saying that. Canucks wanted Natchez and Kane said no. Stanley, I'm surprised people are so tweaked about this. Carolina was a better team than NJ even without this move. Hopefully Fitzgerald will grow the stones and go for a major shakeup. This core ain't it. Oh, man, he's still down on the core. Zest, as a Canucks fan, the league is underrating Miller, and you guys won't have locker room issues as long as you're winning. That's an interesting statement. I mean, listen, I think JT Miller would be a great fit. The biggest things that concern me are his age with the amount of years left, that it is going to be a contract that ages poorly. I just don't see any other way around it. It just seems inevitable that that's going to be one that you look at years from now and you're like, damn, that was a mistake. But if you win, then it doesn't matter. That's the thing. It's really it could be not an all in necessarily, but it is a very aggressive win now move. Joseph, the Devils core took team friendly deals as a team sport. Only guy wanting $14 million for himself doesn't work. That's a Toronto type mistake. You guys are going to see more and more guys doing this. Also, you get Miller, the scoring depth gets even worse. Well, why would the scoring depth get even worse? Miller is going to be a Ranger. Devils are named just to drive up the cost. That'd be pretty funny. Chico, apparently the Pens are fire selling, starting the rebuild already. Yeah, but I think when they said, oh, we want a fire sale, and then they were like, but we're not trading Crosby, we're not trading Malkin, we're not trading, I believe, Pickering, and there was one other young guy on their team that they were like, oh, we're not trading them. So it's basically a fire sale of what? Your overpriced contracts in Letang and the hell, Carlson. Like, where are you? You know, what pieces do you have that are going to be in demand? Jay says Canucks asking a lot for Miller. Alex says you have to take risks, man. Good for the Canes. I mean, yeah, that's part of this. A lot of teams make these ballsy moves. Does Fitz have one in him? 4-Devil says keep Miller. I'm not convinced that's worth it. Joe McCardle, they could have gotten Taylor Hall for a draft pick. Yeah, I mean, a third round pick clearly would have gotten the deal done, and I would have easily given a third round pick for Hall without thinking about it. Zest, he's a first center, minimum 82-point guy, an insane playoff performer if there aren't locker room issues. Yeah. Jim Card, apparently Penguins are selling. I think Rackle would be an amazing ad, especially with how good he is right now. A couple of you guys have talked about him. It's a good move for the Rangers. Their core is aging out. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for the Rangers. If they don't win in the next couple of years, it might be a while for them. Sukheat says Rantanen is awesome in the playoffs and is way better than Jake. Talking about Gensel. Jay Edwards, Rantanen and Hall, both free agents, July 1. This can really backfire on the Canes. Nature's signed next year. I mean, how much is it backfiring? Like I said, you're basically getting Rantanen over Nature's for the remainder of this season, and all you would be losing is 1 year of Nature's services. I think it's a ballsy move that's worth it. I mean, Taylor Hall is essentially a throw in there. Like, I don't think they're too worried about what happens with Taylor Hall. If he plays well and he likes it there, I'm sure he would sign a team-friendly deal trying to win that cup. So I think Taylor Hall is the least of their worries there. And it's wild. Chico, my guess is the Blackhawks got 0 offers for Hall and so agreed to deal him for their own third back. For Devil, one trade in NHL becomes a flea market. Jay Snow, I don't know. Carolina's super analytical team might not sign Mikko. Carson, I'm convinced we could re-sign Mikko, Burns, Orlov. Contracts will be gone. The Canes will have like 24 mil in cap if Nikushkin and Morrow come up. If Mikko wants 12, I think it's doable. Jarvis, Aho, Mikko. I think they said he wants 14 though. Like, I don't think he's going to sign for 12. Jay Snow, Marner's been horrible in the playoffs. Yeah, he goes quiet. And I think he's one of the problems with that core, which is why I don't really think that core in Toronto ever will win anything. I would have no interest in Marner. He's just another guy similar in overall, attributes, I guess, to the guys we have. We need dogs. Louis NJ, going to cost fans more, and they're going to stick more ads on the jerseys, helmets, boards, glass, etc. They're going to put ads everywhere, guys. Yo, nice ace. I don't know what that's in reference to. Traveling Devil, I don't think Fitz cares since these players are never coming to the Devils anyway. I agree with that. Joe, great story about quipping Lou about Brock Nelson. Yeah, that got a chuckle out of him. Chico, for someone who puts up kind of a scary face to the media, I've never heard a bad story from a fan about Lou. Even when I personally met him, he felt like my actual grandpa, great guy. Yeah, he's definitely still intimidating in his old age, but it was really awesome for me. I probably talked to him for like 5 legit minutes, which is kind of a while. At length, talking about the glory days and when I was a kid. And then I ended it with if you want to give us Brock Nelson for pennies, we'd love to have him. Go Boro. Ace, if he sends Nelson over and Nelson wins us a Stanley Cup, your name going up in the rafters next to Stevens and Brodeur. Man. Jay Edwards, I think Chicago knew he was leaving anyways. He's a free agent July 1. Yeah, I don't think Chicago even wants him back. I mean, listen, they're in a rebuild. He doesn't really fit their timeline, so why pay him? It just didn't make sense anymore. Stanley Hall is washed. I disagree with that. I think he still has something to give, and I think going to a playoff team like the Devils or Canes or wherever is going to be a little shot in the arm for him. I think he's going to do okay. Alex Russo, shout out to Kako for looking like he has a career revival away from the rags. That's all. Again, change of city, change of scenery for a lot of guys. It's just what the doctor ordered to get them back on track. Jay Snows give me Brandon Tanev and another player. Jay Edwards, bad for all East teams. I'm a Leafs fan. This is bad. I mean, yeah, obviously, a very good will probably be a bottom 6 player and a elite talent leaving the Western Conference coming to the East. And if it's not your team, that's 100% bad for the whole East, Jay. I agree with you. Chico would love Ryan O'Reilly on this Devils team, but after this, I think the price just went up on him. Yeah, and as we get closer to the deadline, the price is probably going to go up on everybody. It's kind of wild. It's crazy. Reports that Devils are out on Miller and he doesn't want to waive to come here. Well, that's pretty funny if he wouldn't waive to come to New Jersey if we wanted him. That's pretty Dire Straits. The core is pretty meh for longtime fans. Newer stands like the core than the older fan base. I think that's true as well. Carson says, do you guys realize that the potential deal, prospect, Kokoniemi, first, second round draft pick, are still resources the Canes have for Miller? I mean, that would be crazy. That would be absolutely crazy. Go Boro, just a shout out. Awesome. Other teams' fans are coming here and being cool. Just a shout out for y'all. Yeah, most hockey fans are cool. We obviously get a lot of trolls in here from other teams and such, but by and large, a lot of the people that have come in here and chatted with us from other fan bases are just hockey fans that want to shoot the shit just like all of us. Chico, call me a homer, but I think when both teams are at their best, the Devils and Canes kind of even each other out. I'd say in the last playoff series, Rod was just better than Ruff. He might beat Keefe too. Yeah, you're a homer, dog. The Canes have just owned us for so long. Captain Mafungo, what's going on? How about trying to acquire Mason McTavish, an affordable center who will need a new deal come spring? I am all for anyone that could help this team improve, and I think there will be no shortage of guys, but the list will dwindle down as we get into real trade deadline season. We're 6 weeks away. I'm trying to think, when was the last time a monster deal went down like this so far ahead of the trade deadline? I mean, the deadline's in 6 weeks. This is a legitimate modern day blockbuster here. This is a big one. Dire Straits, that Marky, I'm very much worried about this team right now. I'm just more worried about the team playing well. As long as the team can play well, if they played like they did the other night, I believe they get wins with Jake Allen and net, no problem. No problem. Stick fig, what's going on? This is worth going to the red light district? Absolutely. A conference foe just got one of the best players in the league and one of my preferred low-risk, high-reward trade targets in Taylor Hall. Go Boro, Captain Mafungo, McTavish, and a deal for Nemitz. Other parts added here or there on both sides. What do you think, Ace? No. I've said, I'm on record multiple times saying I would prefer to keep Nemitz. I wouldn't rule out trading him, but I personally would only trade him in a deal for something substantial that would help the team for years to come. Not just like some mediocre, people are talking about him for Brock Nelson. Like, no. Again, for lack of a better comparison at the moment, I don't believe the Devils are ever getting Brady Tkachuk now. But for a guy like that or something in that stratosphere, I would look at including Nemitz if I had to. But anything short of that, I'm not looking for a rental player or any of these older guys to give up a kid that could be a stud in the league for 15 plus years. I'm not doing it. Jay Edwards, I'm on Tanev 2 on the Leafs. He's only got 15 points, so it wouldn't be expensive for Leafs. But Columbus fighting for playoff spot, will be careful. Dire Straits, it's easy for Canes fans to be cool. Their team owns the Devils in the playoffs. Louis, am I the only one that is down on Timo? He's just not playing up to his paycheck. Timo's playing pretty good. Timo seems to play a lot better and he gets to drive his own line. Ritter Engine says, who are we getting? I have no idea. Hopefully somebody. Louis says, at Chico, which they just did last game and he looked better, so we will see if they keep it that way or move him to right wing full time and maybe back on power play 1. I would definitely like to see Timo back on the right side. With that being said, it seems like him and Mercer are a good fit. I'd expect them to play together tomorrow night in Montreal, but Palat and Halla might be back. And so it'll be very interesting to see what Sheldon Keefe does do with those lines. Vegas Golden Bettman, I just can't wait to see what Vegas cooks up that will piss off the league. I think you already know. Someone's going to go on LTIR, and they're going to load up with somebody. Captain Mafungo, Nemitz is not being moved. It'll be Sheamus or Mercer to go. Samuel, Devils way too slow on the trigger on Hall. I mean, yeah, I would have given up a third-round pick for him easily. Carson, I'll really miss Natchez, but business is business. Can no longer say can't spell Canes without Natchez. Evans, Devils are still a young team and have a bright future as long as the team stays intact. They do have a bright future, but this is, you got to start maneuvering like win now. Win now. Jerome, Ace, right now we should be more concerned about our own house. Marky's out 4 to 6 weeks and need to keep the good play from Bruins game going. Yeah, absolutely. But this is a monster blockbuster trade in the league with a conference foe. And so I'm going to talk about it for sure. If Natchez was as good as everyone thinks he is, Canes would have signed him a long time ago. And there might be some truth to that. Chico at Louis, hard to argue with going the depth route. The Pens did it with Crosby, Malkin, and Kessel for big chunks of their back-to-back Cup seasons. John Lopez, I wanted Hall. Now I vision him scoring the series-winning goal that knocks us out of the first round. I hope I'm wrong. So exactly what I thought as soon as I saw it. I said, oh, my God. Not only do we miss, he's going to the Canes, who I hate, and there's a good chance we play them in the playoffs. And with the way our luck has gone all season long, and we saw it again the other night, a former Devil. It ended up not mattering because the Devils steamrolled him. But former Devil Pavel Zacha steals a Jesper Bratt pass, then toe drags the puck around Bratt and gets it to Pasternak before he fires it across for Geeky to blast one. Former Devils thrive on just generating points or shutting us out. The former goalies shut us out. Dire Straits, the future has apparently been bright for the last 10 years. The team needs to win. This has been 15 years of garbage. Could not agree with you more, Dire Straits. It's time to make win-now moves. Go Bora. Will be interesting to see what Poulter will do. The chance for him to stake his claim is now. Poulter's not going to get a game. He's basically just here to back up Allen. Sheldon Keefe said that in the next few days, Nico Dawes is going to come up. Poulter's going to go back down, and I think we're going to see at least a Nico Dawes start. If you haven't seen my latest video that I released earlier this afternoon, check that one out. I talk about the whole kind of goalie thing in that video. Samuel Dawes has to prove he's NHL ready. I think he's going to have a chance to at least to show us what he could do in one game in that first week of February. The Devils have 4 games in 7 nights. John Woodson, imagine if Fitz was patient on getting Meyer and instead got Rantanen. He's the center Jack needed. Damn. The Devils have to have a strong 7-game stretch going to 4 nations to prove to Fitzy this team is worth selling off assets. I agree with that. I think he's going to wait, but I hope he doesn't wait too long. Hoping and waiting. We saw where that got us last year. Chico, there are options out there that make the Devils better, but the core needs to keep their bounce back up. I agree with that. Dire Straits, but also new another year the Canes owning the Devils. Totally shocked. Jay Edwards, every team wants Brock Nelson. All teams could use a solid center, and that's why I think the price is going to be high. Stanley 62495, lots of playoff talk. The Devils just lost their top performer for at least 6 weeks. Things may get ugly here. Hopefully they only, we're only without Markstrom for those 7 games of the 4 nations. Hopefully he's ready to come back shortly thereafter. David Mobley, sad as Avalanche fan, hoping they pull out something else. I'd imagine Avalanche fans are disappointed, right? I mean, Carson, I can only name 4 players better than Mikko, maybe 5 on a good day. Oh, there's Woodson. If Carolina wouldn't have destroyed us in the playoffs before, they for sure will now. Coordinator says Fitzy is very close getting fired at this point. I very much disagree there. Jay Snow, geez, why? I don't know why you guys are so scared to play Carolina. Because they own us. They own us. John Woodson, Fitz listens to the fans to panic buy way too much. I don't think any GMs listen to fans at all. David Mobley, I like Natchez, but the return needed to be more, in my opinion. Yeah, but David, you have to realize if the reports are true, that this guy's looking for $14 million. I mean, my God, how many teams are going to be, ready and willing to do that? Carson says, David, I just feel like we fleeced you guys. Chico, duck no one. I'd take playing the Canes in the playoffs. Give us the hardest road possible. You're crazy, bro. Listen, I just want to make the playoffs, and I'd be thankful to make it. But if I have the option of playing the Canes or somebody else, I'm taking somebody else. Jay Edwards, this has been the biggest trade in a long time. I agree with that. I'm trying to think of the last whopper like this. Jay Snow, we played all the top teams in the East. We play all the mid teams now. Carolina won big time. Their coach and GM playing chess while all his dummies are playing checkers. Carson, as a Canes fan, I don't know. This is giving me Kachuk Huberdeau vibes. Question is, which will be which? I mean, that would be interesting. Although with all due respect to Rantanen, I mean, Matthew Kachuk is just from another planet. Chico, Rod Brendamore is the best coach in the NHL for my money. Yeah. David, Avalanche needed to get Alexander Nikishin in this trade, even if it was just Natchez and Nikishin. Samuel, can Dawes be a real backup? Jake doing 7 games in a row seems a bit much. Yeah, I think Dawes is going to get one start somewhere in the first week of February. We have 4 games in 7 nights. John Woodson, Dawes has been trashed this year. Poulter will play if needed. Wrong. You're wrong, Woodson. You're wrong. Keefe said Poulter's going back down. Dawes is coming up. Poulter won't get a game unless there's an injury. Carson, David Nikishkin is the number one prospect here. We would not give our future up. LJ, Palms might be a realistic option, if not likely. Someone that level. I don't see Fitz making a splash like the Canes. No, I don't think so. I mean, listen, there's how many, that's basically the biggest splash we're going to see. It was the first shoe to drop in the NHL trade deadline is 6 weeks out. And there's not going to be a deal that's going to top that in terms of magnitude. Taylor Hall and Rantanen going to the Canes. I mean, that's the deal of the season. Jay Edwards, good podcast, bro. I like it. Subscribe. Cheers, man. Cheers to you, Jay. Thank you very much. Kieran, do you think other teams were negotiating with Colorado on the Mikko deal? If Fitz was in, who do you think would have been offered on our end? No, there's no way that Fitz was in on a guy that wants $14 million. There's just no way. Chico, Palms on a Devils jersey would be awesome to see again. Always love the guy. Listen, if that's the best we can get, I'll take any help we can get. But I think there could be better fits for what we need. Vegas Golden Bettman, Carlson is already on LTIR, and Holtz has been healthy scratch 3 games in a row. Wow. Well, he just got sent down to the AHL, I saw. I read that a little while ago. Dire Straits, if Court does make playoffs, one definitely needs to be shipped out. Lou back in the day would have pulled the trigger. Lou was a different species. John Woodson, our only goalie prospect is Yegorov or the Czech kid. Nothing new. Jack McCabe, seeing as Carolina just shipped a member of their core 4, could you see the Devils doing something similar, moving one of our core 4, 86, 13, 63, or 28? No, not this season. I mean, now listen, I don't even want to think this way, but if we somehow miss the playoffs this year, then I could see them maybe looking to move a core piece. And when you really look at it, I would have to believe, they're not going to trade Jack. They're not going to trade Nico. He's the captain. Yeah, as someone pointed out in one of the previous lives, the Devils are almost married to this core to some extent. I think the only piece that they would consider trading is Jesper Bratt, and I think that would be kind of stupid too. I think he's he's clearly one of our best players. So I don't know if, they ever decide to look to turn him into something else, but I don't even want to think that way. Hopefully we make the playoffs. John Fay, you want to know what's worse about this trade? We get to see Nate just one more time this season as an Avalanche. Hopefully Timo trucks him. John Woodson, Devils can't sign draft a 100-point player to save their life. Well, we've never had a 100-point scorer in the history of the franchise. So I can't say that that's, I mean, you're technically right, but I can't blame Fitzgerald for that or current administration. We've never had one ever. Carson, I think the whole league should be scared of 2 out of the top 3 most consistently fast players. Mac, Natchez will be on the same line. Yeah, I mean, that should be interesting. John Woodson, I would have gave Colorado Mercer, Nemitz, and a first rounder for Rantanen, and he's that good. As a rental, knowing he wants $14 million in the offseason, supposedly he wants 14. John Woodson, even if he resigns for 11, 12, I think you're dreaming. Kieran, I said this before. There's no way Fitzgerald was in on this deal whatsoever. Yeah, Alex says Fitz wasn't in on Mikko. I agree. We weren't in on this trade. We made our move with Timo. John Woodson, Dawes is blowing 890 in the minors, and you want him to start an NHL game of madness. No, you need to listen to what I'm saying, Woodson. It's not my pick. Keefe said it in the thing, in the media availability today. To me, minor league stats, there's so many variables that go into it. For me, it's hard to just judge a guy on just the stats. with that being said, I've wanted to see Poulter make his NHL debut to see what he has. But Keefe said today that Dawes is coming up. Woodson says, hope someone claims him when he goes back down. I'm not an expert in I hate the whole up and down. Can someone claim you or you waiver exempt? It's like you got to be a lawyer to understand all that stuff. Eric Wolf, at this point, we'd better off as a wild card facing the Caps or Leafs instead of Canes in round 1. It's possible. It's definitely possible. Samuel, no splash left in the pool. I will take a ripple that improves us. That's all I'm looking for. A couple ripples. John Woodson, if we go 500 before the break, we need to sell our asses off to get some cap space and draft picks to use next year. Oh, my God. I can't even think like this. Corey Saunders, dude, Canes fan, whose favorite NHL player ever is Scott Stevens. Your fucking background setup is insane, dude. Big props. Thanks, man. I got the Stevens game-worn helmet over my head. I can never, the camera's reversed, so I try to point over my head, and I'm like pointing in the thing. But if you look right over my head, you'll see the number 4. That's a Scotty Stevens helmet and his gloves. One of my favorite players of all time as well. Absolute legend, and they don't make them like that anymore, Corey. And that's why he's forever immortalized in my background here. He's also with the Stanley Cup. It's opposite. This always messes me up. There he is with the Stanley Cup in 1995. Brian J. Fitz just sitting on his ass, watching one of our biggest rivals get exponentially better. Great. And you guys are chatty. The trade wins got people chatting out here. Ritter Engine says we're screwed. I don't think we're screwed. John Woodson, the only pieces we can trade with no trade clauses, Jack and Mercer. We all know we aren't trading Jack, so we are stuck with our soft core. Stanley, Fitzgerald needs to revamp the core. Team-friendly deals or not. Now, everyone knows deep down that these guys aren't getting it done. Tough decisions need to be made. Dire Straits, are there no Carolina Hurricanes podcasters? I don't know. Jace, no, it's Bratt. He's the most likely to get moved if they miss and would fetch us a good haul. I agree as well, because it's just by process of elimination. He's the only one that, Louis, at Carson, you don't fit in here, dude. You know what you're talking about, LOL. Ritter Engine, is Fitz chilling with Harris in his helicopter? I don't know where they are, but hopefully they're trying to figure out how to get this team better. Dire Straits, Jay Hughes is not going to bring the team to the promised land. I agree. Carson, there is Dyer 99.9 The Fan already wrapped up. Oh, there is Dyer 99.9 The Fan already wrapped up. John Woodson, he ain't getting 14, and I'm in win now mode, baby. So, Woodson, you would have paid that price for a rental. Carson, I know, Louie. I'm here for the experience, and I like Ace. Thank you, Carson. I appreciate that. Ritter Engine, Jack needs to stop his BS. End of story. Man, you guys are... Brian J., I think I need a drink. I need more of SST's take. I need a drink, too. Bottle shots. Dirty Devil Vodka, the official vodka of the great Martin Brodeur. Bottle shots. I can't believe the Canes pulled this off tonight. John Woodson says Keefe needs to go. He's lost his mind. I think that's a little crazy. Amagi, Marty definitely held Keefe at gunpoint for Dawes. Oh, you guys are funny. Traveling Devil, what's going on? Nate just owes Timo a day's pay for his Oscar Award BS. Hopefully Timo makes him square up when they meet again. I would love to see Timo truck him as a member of the Avalanche and just give him the business. And he'll probably dive back on the ground and roll around again like he got shot. That was crazy. What a faker. Ritter Engine says Dawes is garbage. I don't know about all that. It's still too early, I think. Zachariah Tollison, as a Hurricanes fan, I'm not happy about this trade. That's very interesting. I'd be curious to hear why that is. Jerome D'Angelo, all the Devils goalies have all the goalies Devils have in prospects. One of them needs to pan out or Fitz really dropped the ball. Jerome, I've said this a million times. You're talking about Nico Dawes. You're talking about Isaac Poulter. You're talking about the kid Yegorov that's going to be at BU with Pandolfo. There's another guy from Finland, I think, that we drafted this year. We also have Tyler Brennan, Jacob Malik. I mean, if none of these guys pan out, it's crazy. Yo Holmes says Woodson has the dumbest takes. Jay Edwards, keep in mind, Nate just only makes $6.5 million a year and to sign one more year. Rantanen will come in close at 14 next year. was a big reason for the trade. Leafs could trade Marner looking for the same. Some of these guys, I hope, don't get the money. I mean, listen, if all things equal, I would much rather have Rantanen than Marner. But I think Marner is, way too soft to give that kind of money to. SST, my take is the Devils will never win the cup again. I hope you're wrong. Dire Straits, we're being invaded here. I don't think so. Jay Snow, I'd rather Dawes. He's got NHL experience and he's played good when not overused. We're going to see. Ritter Engine says send Dawes to EHL. That's supposed to be ECHL. Brian J., I would have loved to trade Meyer for Rantanen. That was never happening. Samuel says I am missing Toffoli. I like Tyler Toffoli too, guys, but $6 million at his age and the speed that he has or lack thereof. It's a lot. John Woodson, Bratt can't be moved. He has a no trade clause for the rest of eternity like all of our other big contracts. I don't think that necessarily means he can't be moved. If the team comes and says they want to trade him and there's a decent destination, I could see him agreeing. Carson, also Natchez with A+ acting gained us a 5-minute power play. I won't complain. Terrible. Go Boro. Stevens is Devils personified. Absolutely. Dire Straits. Woodson actually says the truth from time to time. I agree with that as well. Are you serious, Ace? You want to be a wild card team to avoid Carolina? You're embarrassing us now, Ace. Haha. No. I always want to finish as high as possible. Let that be clear. I would never, purposely lose or any shit like that to be a wild card. I want to finish as high as possible. With that being said, I am hoping that it doesn't result in us playing Carolina, which I'm obviously very well aware that may be the reality. Max Houston, I don't think Hall is longed for this team. Seems like a passenger this year. Would love someone like Gordy at the deadline. I don't think we need a big splash. Neither do I. I don't think we need a big splash either. Stanley, Tollison, go home. You're drunk. This trade is amazing for your team. Dire Straits, Harris is too busy with the Commanders. He doesn't care about the Devils. I mean, that could be true. Evan says trading Brad away would be a huge mistake. I don't want to trade him, but we're just talking about doomsday scenario here. Dire Straits, Harris order of care. Commanders, Sixers, the soccer team he owns, Devils. Jay Snow, Fitz giving Big Mac a 3-year deal made no sense. We're an injury away from him being a regular. Max Houston, I can't believe the fact that people are talking about trading Bratt. Actually mind-blowing. John Woodson, trading Jack and Luke is the move, but no one has the balls to admit. That's never, that's clearly never happening. That's why I can't entertain it. I've said it time and time again. It's not happening. There's no point talking about it. Jay Edwards, this makes teams in the East especially want to pull some big triggers. Leafs should trade Riley and Marner. That's $18 million in cap space. Tavares, too. That's almost $30 million off the Leafs salary cap. I don't think they're going to trade all of them. Eric Wolf, I bought a bottle of that at your recommendation. It's good. Yeah, it's pretty good. And it's the vodka of the great Martin Brodeur. Whew. Stanley 62495. Bratt, while a nice player, isn't moving the needle. Easy to neutralize, similar to some other important players here. Maybe. But he produces. You'd have to be getting someone that could produce at that level or more for it to even remotely make sense. Carson Hayes, I have a funny joke trade proposal. Kakaniemi, Bradley Nadeau, 2025 first, 2022 for Bratt. No. I'm out. Ritter Engine, Dawes better not come up. He's garbage. Dawes is coming up. Confirmed by Sheldon Keefe today. Max Houston says, Woodson, you got to stop drinking the toilet water, bud. It's affecting your brain. Jack McCabe, Natchez is checking out. Jeep, Yegerov is already at BU backing up Karan. Jay Snow says Dawes is going to play. I've been saying that for a while. Louis says SST is the worst. Legit. Jay Snow, Yegerov looks really good, and Malik like top 5 in like every category. Dire Straits, will Quinn demand a trade out of the circus of Vancouver? I guess time will tell, right? Zachariah, I love Natchez. He was a great team player. I'm sad to see him go. Feels like the Gensel trade all over again. Am I wrong? I'm open to being wrong here. I don't think anyone can tell you you're wrong until you just, time will tell how this plays out. Ryan Demand, Brad isn't going anywhere. He's part of our core and one of our best players. I agree with that. If somehow they miss the playoffs, though, I could see a earth-shattering type of move to be made. Jay Edwards, I miss Zach Hyman on Leafs at only $5 million. His asking was stupid. Leafs let him walk. He scored 51 goals following year. Yeah, but you have no idea what he would have done if he stayed there. Jay Snow, I hate to say it, but I want him a cloud type of player. I don't know how many guys in the league that kind of had the diverse toolkit that he did. But a guy that played like him, I would obviously love to see it. I think every team in the league would love to have a guy that plays like that. Louis, I don't think Hall of Waves to go anywhere. He's tired of being traded. Fitzhand's probably tied with him until next season. He has a partial no trade clause. Woodson, it'll take Yeagerov and Malik 5 years to get here. We need a solid goalie in 3 years for our real cup window. Jay Snow says it's an embarrassment if we fall to a wild card, and Stanley tells him prepare to be embarrassed. Woodson, I'm just hoping Carolina doesn't get hot and get the number 1 seed, then play us as a wild card. Jay Snow, we have a lot of blue line prospects, but not a lot of forward depth. That is absolutely correct. Carson, Canes are on their first 4-game win streak since starting 10-2-0, and we just made an insane trade, and our other number 1 goalie is back. 10-game winning streak incoming. We're still waiting for our first 4-game winning streak in over 2 calendar years. I believe the date was January 14th, 2023, the last time the Devils had a 4-game win streak. John Woodson, SST, I hate everyone. This trade makes me grumpy. Jerome, Utica was awful this year. Dawes in the big club might be a lot better than he's been in the AHL this year. That's why I don't put a lot of stock into minor league stuff. When people are like, oh, his stats suck. Like, if the team sucks, I mean, what are you going to do? Brian, Dawes will probably only play if Markstrom is out longer than we think. Don't want Allen reaching his game limit for the trade. I mean, everyone, it is funny. So many people reference this, and it's like, he's not hitting it. You guys you're just bad at math. He's played 15 games this year. There's only 30-something games left in the season. I mean, there's no chance that he hits 40 games. There's no chance. Evan says Jack Hughes needs to drink more milk and lift more weights, then he'll be okay. I think so. John Woodson, literally, we only have Squires as a forward prospect. It's beyond sad. No, we still got Gritsuk and Haminaho. Jorge Rantanen could have never been an option for the Devils. No. Why does Fitz never even factor into big-time trades? Because there's a salary cap, and we are damn close to it. And Rantanen makes a lot of money and is going to make even more money. Yeah, Gritsuk and Haminaho. Those are the two that are, to me, that seem to be the most exciting at the moment. And the most likely to... become Devils. Jeep 7878. Why are we acting like Timo is untouchable? If anyone gets traded from our core 4, I think it'd be him. But I'd recommend trading a defenseman prospect or one of our 6 NHL defensemen. It's not that he's untouchable. He's the only physical forward we have. So if they're trying to revamp the core, they're not going to trade Timo. All of the other guys are very similar. Timo is the one who's the most unlike the rest. And so if you're going to trade a piece of the core, trading Timo makes no sense. John Woodson, we need our core to get bigger and tougher. Why trade the biggest body we have, even though he's overpaid? And there again, like I said, I disagree with Woodson a lot, but I agree with him a lot as well. And there it was right after I said it. Yeah, you're not going to keep the 3 dainty guys and trade the 1 bull you have. If you're going to shake it up, it's got to be one of the other guys. Ace, can you honestly name more than 4 or 5 active players better than Rantanen? McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl, and Kucherov, Pasternak on a perfect day. I guess you're talking about forwards only, I'd imagine, is what we're talking about here. Forwards only. Yeah, I mean, he's right there amongst the best, for sure. Louis, people online reporting that Canes had deals at Vancouver in place for both Miller and Pedersen before going with Rantanen, and Canes had options. Sheesh. Yeah, Rob, it's still insane. It's been 2 years since they won 4 in a row. Yeah, it's officially over 2 calendar years now. Jay Edwards, Carolina are definitely no wild card. If they play the Leafs, won't be round 1. Canes got slightly better, but to lose Nate just hurt them as well. Yeah, but now they got, I think, obviously to me, Rantanen is a nice upgrade over Natchez, and then they added another depth piece in Taylor Hall. Shit. Jason, no, let's just get to the playoffs, then worry about it. I agree with you there. It's a joke. Can't win 4 games in a row. Jerome says Gritsuk and Haminao can't get here fast enough. Their skill sets would be critical. Derek, everyone who produces more points than Brat in the league also is paid more than Brat. One of the better values on this team, in my opinion. Again, Fitz has some team-friendly deals for the big guns. Stanley says Jack has some serious maturity issues. Spend some time in the gym. Dainty. That's a good way to describe Jack. Did I say dainty? I think I said dainty, right? Yo, Holmes says, please stop saying core 4. Why stop saying it? Jay Snow, Jack's still young. John Fay. John Woodson agreed 3-game heater here and there. I'll take it, but let's hope we can get to 4. Woodson says Frederick is my want. Again, I think the Bruins are going to be very much a playoff team, so I don't see them doing it. Jack McCabe, I think the Devils are going to end up trading one of Nemitz, Casey Salaya for forward help. What a luxury to have so many good deep prospects. At least one could be expendable. Yeah, I agree with that as well. But if I'm trading one of them, I want a piece that's going to be around for a while. John Woodson, Frederick, and Cotter would have 20 hits a game. Carson, 2 years since a 4-game win streak. Maybe I should shut up and be happy. Yeah, exactly. We haven't had a 4-game win streak. Haven't had a 4-game win streak in it's now 2 years and 10 days. I mean, it's psychotic. Eric, could we realistically get Bjorkstrand from Seattle? He always used to score against us. Maybe he can score for us. There's going to be a ton of guys. Okay. John Fay at SST. Wow, SST now has a favorite beside himself. John Woodson, you have to have Plot and Dougie to waive their no contract, no trade clause. Not you, just tell them to. I think these things get looked at in the offseason. I don't see something. I don't see anything happening with either one of them this season personally. Again, I could be wrong, but Dire Straits, levels of depression have been night for Devils. Levels of depression have been night for Devils fans this month. Yeah, it's been a rough January. Seth, Ace, what movie are we going to get, bro? I think we're going to get some bottom 6 guys, at least one. But it's not going to be a sexy move like this. Like this is going to this is taking over the internet. This is a legitimate blockbuster. Max Houston, I have a weird feeling that Rantanen and Hall are going to have a tough time playing Carolina Hurricane hockey. Don't get me wrong, I think they'll be good, but everyone is overreacting. I think Brindamore will get them to play exactly the way he wants. Carson, that's quite shocking. Can't tell you the last time the Canes had 10 in a row. Woodson, I don't trust Luke on power play 1. I'll gladly pay $9 million to keep Luke on the ice more. Fleury and net for the Devils. I really wanted that to happen a couple years ago, and even last year, I would have loved to see it happen. Fleury in a Devils jersey would have been sick. Jack McCabe Fitz has got to make a move soon. Have some balls and get Frederick from Boston. That's a Cotter Nason guy there. Maybe a Tanev Gordy too. Guys that make differences come tough physical games. You guys know I'm the heavier, edgier, more violent guy. I've wanted to see the team play a physical brand of hockey for years. Serve says, I don't want JT Miller at all. Andrew says, what would it take for us to get Quinn with the way the Canucks are playing, or is it not worth it with the current squad? There's no chance. There's no chance that that's going to happen anytime soon. I think one day he may sign here as a free agent, but I don't think the Devils are going to make a trade for him. Dire Straits, Ace, you need a moderator in the chat, maybe. Jason, no, Frederick's a 4th-line guy. He's not going to add much scoring. No, but he is going to bring grit and testicular fortitude that your New Jersey Devils so desperately need. I thought Fitz did a good job with bringing in Dylan, Kovacevic, Nason, Cotter in the summer. It turns out we need even more. We need even more. Woodson says Dougie scores 12 to 20 goals and 40 to 60 points a season, so at least he does something. I agree with that as well. And for everyone that's saying, like, oh, get rid of Dougie, like, we would feel his absence. You saw it last season. Everyone's quick to forget how our season went to shit when Dougie got hurt. I was talking about, yeah, because I was like, I was no look. Yeah, I know. Now I'm trying to look at them better before I put it up there. I was just, yeah, I got caught slipping. Carolina can beat the Rangers. Can't beat the Rangers. Oh, I think Carolina would definitely beat the Rangers. Woodson says Evans isn't coming. Hall's out. We are running out of options. Stay put. I mean, guys, there was one deal. Everyone's acting like everyone's off the board. Louis got to bounce. Night all. Good night, Ace. Take care, Louis. Woodson, trade Kovacevic if we are promising Nemitz will play next season. I want Kovacevic around. John Woodson, get that first rounder for a better piece later. I mean, listen, I'd be pretty upset if we did that deal. Are you going to do that at the deadline and then throw Nemitz in for a playoff run? I mean, it seems a little crazy. Jay Edwards, keep in mind, Hall is 33 years old, has 24 points, worst team in NHL. He can score more in Carolina. At $6 million, he's not in a bad contract. Nate just 49 points, 54 games at $6.5 million. Both come in at Rantanen. Traveling Devil. Fitz needs to go back to the junkyard and get 2 more dogs. I would love to see it. I want dogs. I want dogs. Go Boro says, I think SJ would want bank for, is that Zetterland you meant to put? Stanley J. Snow is right. North Carolina and Washington will roll right over for the Rangers. Listen, if Shesterkin's playing at the top of his game, they're going to be a very difficult team to beat once again. He's come to life. He's come to life, and the Rangers are right back in this thing. People counted them off and wrote them off for dead. A few weeks back, and I said on a live, I said, guys, if I had to bet, I would bet that the New York Rangers make the playoffs, and they're right there. John Fay says, Traveling Devil agreed. I wouldn't mind seeing 2 more junkyard dogs on this team. Joe McCardle, Nathan Bastian is not the answer as far as toughness. He receives more punishment than he dishes out. I will say he has been playing better lately. He's been hitting. He has a couple assists. But I guess to put it this way, there's guys that I'm more offended by their presence than Nate Bastian at this point. He's actually played pretty decent recently. Ryan says Fitz will do nothing for us. Let's be real. I think he's going to do something. Woodson, I'd rather kick the Rangers' ass in the Eastern Conference Final next year than win one meaningless playoff round this year. I don't think it's an either or. Jay Snow, they never beat them in the playoffs. Carson, oh man, he's got all of the wow. He's got his projected lines here. Go Boro. I mean, historically, we're a team of dogs. Is kind of our DNA. Feels a little destined. We will never get our 100-pointer guy. I still think Jack or Bratter might have a shot to get it this year, but they're gonna have to heat up. Woodson might get booted. My prediction is Rangers will take our playoff spot. The truth hurts. That would be awful. Jay Snow, we need another puck mover on the blue line. I'd sign Covey, but not too big of a number. What's that number to you, Jay Snow? Stanley 62495. It all went downhill after NJ social media trolled the Rangers. B Ted, Rags are playing better, but they still have major holes. Jay Snow, yeah, we need dogs that can score though. John Fay, Carson, but where did the Hurricanes put Hall and Mikko in your opinion? Rangers are playing that neutral zone trap. Mikko, first line, Hall, fourth line. Jay Snow says that he said the Rangers are always making the playoffs. SST, everyone playing on the Canes became goal-scoring machines. Everyone playing on the Devils all of a sudden forgot what scoring is. B. Ted, weird trade for the Avs, and I'm not a fan of Natchez at all. I think they're just trying to get anything. So now they have Natchez for next year at a decent cap hit versus letting Rantanen walk because they don't want to pay him the $14 million. SJ, so do you think Jake Allen could hold the fort? I'm personally skeptical. I think he can. And as long as the team plays good in front of him, I think he could win. Now, Markey was, playing completely lights out for the past couple weeks. And I don't think he is quite the goalie that Markey has been, but he has shown flashes of being a capable NHL goalie. He's had some very good games. He looked very good in that Boston game. He's well rested. And if the boys play in front of him, I think Jake Allen can easily hold the fort down. It might only be 7 games. The 7-game stretch before the 4 Nations, then Markey could be back shortly after 4 Nations. So I think out of the 7 games, Jake Allen probably plays 6. Dawes will get the other start. If you haven't seen the video, I put out a video talking about all this kind of heading into the Four Nations break with all the news out of practice today and the goalie situation and Markey. I called it the little notebook edition. So if you haven't seen the notebook edition, I would recommend watching it. I will drop. Oh, boy. I hate when that happens. Link in the description. Or the chat, rather. I just did a video on all that stuff. But Jason, no, they have to put it together these 7 games or Wise Fitz making moves. Woodson, Kovacevic will demand $3-4 million for an extension. We just don't have the money for it. I think we could, especially with the cap going up $9 million. $3-4 mil for Kobe. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, guys, it's been fun. Jack McCabe says, do you think the Canes re-sign him? I just can't believe this, guys. The Hurricanes go out and just make a blockbuster deal on a random Friday night, just sending shockwaves through the entire league. We are here to win a cup. SST, rumor cap might be as high as 95, 97 million. This way, Luke will get his 8 million. I said between 7 and 8. That was my official prediction. Dire Straits, find a way to get rid of Douglas. It's a business. Trouba got traded and it worked out for the Rangers, and they're now surging. A little bit of a different situation, but I mean, it is amazing that they're able to move on from that deal. Basically just no retention, no anything. They just traded him. Unbelievable. Only the Rangers could get that lucky to get away with, to get off of to just get out of a situation like that. Pretty wild stuff. I don't think we could ever get that lucky. Jason, no, I like Kobe, but he's slow and not great on the offensive side. Listen, not every defenseman is going to be good on the offensive side. That's why they're defensemen. Defensemen. Your primary goal is to defend. Keep pucks out of our net. Woodson, we'd have $32 million on defense. You think our bottom 6 is bad this year? Wait until next year. Traveling Devil and the Devils get rid of Palat and Tatar, replace them with younger big forecheckers. We are good. John Fay, all right, I'm heading out. We need a big win tomorrow against the Canadians, who are 7-2-1 in their last 10. They've been heating up. Cam, Washington not dropping out of first place in the division with one of the easiest schedules upcoming. And the Alexander Ovechkin tour of, as he continues to chase the Gretzky record, I mean, they're just flying high. Not only is he closing in on the record, they're just destroying teams. Meadowlander, what's going on in Montreal waiting for tomorrow's match? I'm very jealous. It's probably freezing in Montreal right now, but I'm sure you're going to have a great time at that game. John Woodson, I love Coven. We need the big body, but he has fell off a little to what he really is, a middle pair defender at best. I still want him around. Jason says, I agree. Kovacevic starting to show some warts. SST, that's why Fitzgerald must trade Kovacevic ASAP. I hope it doesn't happen. Carson, I'm seeing interesting takes. Some say this is the best in history, which is a huge stretch for the Canes, and some are cautiously optimistic. Joe McCardle, Butcher Gross was going off about the Rantanen Hall deal on ESPN Vegas Stars game tonight. There's a reason Covey's always been a depth D-man. Go Boro. If this works out, you guys are going to be top 3 contenders for a cup. Oh, man. Jeep. Devils should go after Crosby retained. That's never happening, guys. I can't entertain these video game things. Crosby's going to finish with the Penguins, I think. But if not, maybe in the last year or whatever, if he does play for another team, it'll be, I believe, the Avalanche with his buddy McKinnon. But I think he is going to ride it out in Pittsburgh. Chico, the Caps are going to be playing on 1,000% until Ovi gets the record, and probably after. I mean, how are you not going to continue to ride that wave after he breaks the record? Oh my God. Jay Snow, I would try to move off Dougie after this year. Trouba has 0 offensive upside. I don't understand. Jay Edwards, there's 2 trade deadlines this year with tournament coming up. Good time to get more players settled in. I expect a lot of trades coming by deadline. Miller 100%. I'd trade Morgan Riley for him. Traveling Devil says I'd move from Palat before Dougie. I mean, I would like to do that too. John Woodson, Dougie at 9, Pesci at 5.5, Dylan at 4, Luke at 4 to 6, which is way low. Siegs at 3.4, Kovacevic at 3.4. Who pays their bottom pair D-man 6+ and have enough money for their forward group? Well, the cap is going up. And I think one of those guys has to be moved, whether it's Dougie or Siegenthaler. But I would prefer, it's tough. I would prefer to try to move on from Siegs before Kovacevic personally. But I could see people, I just feel like we just need big defensemen. Evan says I would trade Mercer at the deadline. Carson, indeed. I heard something about Vegas seeing the Canes as #1 contender. If Crosby doesn't move this season, he's retiring as a Pen, in my opinion, says Chico. I think he retires as a Penguin. Jay Snow, ace in today's NHL, most defensemen play 2 ways. Luke is our only puck mover on the back end. We're 28th in the league in scoring from defensemen. And I personally don't give a shit. If we could win games, no one was talking about the lack of scoring from defensemen until we started sliding. Obviously, you'd like to see some more offense from the defensive group, but in the end, if you're winning, who gives a shit? And I also think that Seamus Casey will be here either. They got to open a spot for him at some point, whether that's next year or the year after. But there are some options, and I do think eventually we won't have Dougie. And so I do think Casey will be the next puck-moving defenseman on the Devils. Go Boro, Vegas Canes final would slap, but gut can see an Avs Canes final. Stanley says Carolina still needs a goalie, though. Shesterkin gives them nightmares. Jason, no, Carolina's been a cup contender. They just can't get over the hump. Serve, I wouldn't trade Palat. I'd trade Hall. Get him the hell off the team. Some of these guys are going to be very difficult to trade. Chico, this decor also has had a historic December. Wait for the bounce back and see what happens. And you can't argue with that. 7 straight games, an NHL record. 7 straight games allowing only 20 shots or less. Jay Snow, how about we get a big win tomorrow? If we lose again, forget it. Carson, I just saw a Canes fan say it's a sad day to be a Canes fan right now. How? They must like Natchez a lot. Jay Edwards, a lot of teams want a good center, and Dubas is a good salesman. Pitt 100% will be making moves. They made it clear they want to rebuild. Yeah, but Jay, they also said with their rebuild that they don't want to trade Crosby. They don't want to trade Malkin. And then I think Pickering and one other young guy were not available. So it's like you could say all these things, but if you're taking all of those guys off the table, then what are you truly offering? Like, what are you truly offering to the market? I don't know. But you could say, you're fire selling or rebuilding, but to take all those pieces and say they're not available, what are you truly doing? John Woodson, we could get 2 big defensemen for $3 million combined, put them on the bottom pair and hide them. Use that extra $3 million on offense or hitting forwards. Chico, this is one of my old man boomer opinions too. I love the puck moving D-men, but I'd rather have the stifling defense we had in December. And Chico, I agree with you there as well. I always prefer my defensemen to be defenders first. Now, I like the fact that Luke could get involved in the O-zone and can generate offense, but in the end, I don't want to have to rely on my defense to be scoring goals for me to be a good team. And like I said, no one was saying shit about the lack of scoring from the defensemen when the team was playing well. And during that 7-game stretch, right, that set the record, no one was saying shit about the defensemen not scoring because no one cared, because the forwards were doing their job and scoring goals, and we were winning games. And they need to get back to that. I have no desire to try to get a bunch of, these puck-moving, fancy, flashy defensemen that aren't going to shut it down in our own end. SST, if Luke gets 8, the Devils will forever be stuck with scraps on the bottom 6. Traveling Devil, NHL will make the 3 games after Obi ties the record of pay-per-view. Stanley, everyone is tradable in my opinion. Luke is the only one I'd really have a hard time letting go. If he puts it all together, he's going to be an animal, and I agree with you there as well. A lot of hatred for him as of late. Anson Meadow, tidbit, we don't play Canes again the rest of the regular season. That is correct. Our season series with them is finished. Brian, plot needs to go one way or another. Halla and Mercer are both keep. I like Mercer. I really do. I think it'd be a mistake to trade him. LJ, only way we can trade a bad contract is for a bad contract. Chico, I have complete faith in this team. I really think they could do 7-1 from now until 4 Nations. There's only 7 games left, Chico. So 6-1 maybe. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 7 games before 4 Nations. John Woodson, Luke on a scoring pace of 6 goals and 40 points is the best argument for not paying $8 million. I said 7 to 8 million. And I'm not saying I want to pay him that money. I'm just saying what he is going to get. Carson, I think Hall is going to be an underrated steal. Maybe not like Kuznetsov was, but something similar. I think he's going to perform there. Jay Snow says, I want to see them bring up Nemitz, go 11-7. I don't normally like doing that, but John Woodson, Hall gets hurt looking at contract. Otherwise, I like his compete level. Go Boro, I feel like putting a $5 bet we trade for someone no one has mentioned yet. I believe that probably would be the case. Chico needs could do it all. Scotty can move in his day too, but they focus on suffocating defense. I love Luke this season more than ever, to be honest. I think his offense will recover in time. Yeah, he's playing more defensively responsible hockey. And he's not getting all the power play time he got last season because, you know, when Dougie was hurt. Well, Dougie's not hurt this year. Woodson, I'm afraid Nemitz is not quite ready yet. If he sucks when he comes up, his trade value will equal Holtz. I don't think so. I think there's enough work in the NHL there, and I guess he's been turning around in the AHL that someone would, you know, you'd get a way better return than Holtz. I don't think it could ever be that bad. With that being said, could it be far less than what people were imagining? That could be the case for sure. But I don't think it'll ever come down to a Holtz level, especially because he's a young defenseman that a lot of teams, you know, he could be a franchise defenseman for a lot of teams. And a right-handed shot. There's just too much going for him for his value to diminish that much. Serve says, it's time to sit Luke just a few games and give Nemitz his chance again. That will never happen, my man. That will never happen. Carson, I still hate Kotkaniemi's contract. Hey, Ace, I miss Nason. Kotkaniemi for Nason. Never. Nason is the junkyard dog, one of my favorite players on this team. Serve, let Nemitz and Luke push each other for playing time. It's just not going to happen. Jay Snow, I'd move off Mercer for a bigger, grittier player. Woodson, mark it down. Luke will bridge for 4 to 5. Fitz knows the cap is tight. No chance, Woodson. 0 chance. Chico, Jay Snow, strongly disagree. I think Mercer is the middle 6 kind of Swiss Army knife player that you need on this team. And I agree with you there. You can play him shorthanded, power play, protect the lead. He's in all situations, high energy dude. I would not want to trade Dawson Mercer, and he had a big game the other night. $4 million is way too low. Meadowlander, surprisingly, no buzz around 4 Nations here in Montreal. Tickets are easy but expensive. I thought about going there for the USA-Canada game, but it is a huge, you know, ordeal to travel there, and it is pretty expensive. And so I'm like, I don't think it's really worth it. But I will check out some 4 Nations in Boston. Serve says Luke literally lost us 2 games. Stanley 62495, old-time fans should remember that Niedermayer was an often frustrating player his first few seasons. Give Luke some time. Insane potential there. Jay Snow, to me, we have a lot of small skilled guys. I'm not saying Mercer's not good, but I'd like to have a different type of player. I would too, but I don't think it has to come at the cost of trading Mercer. Woodson, they'll look at other comparable contracts for his stats. SST, we got this. $7 to $8 million, guys. Serve, the one where he gave away a puck in that horrible line change. The line change was brutal. And Marner just I think it was Marner, chucked it up ice. to Willie. Joshua Lee, I love Donato from Chicago. He only costs $2 million, which fits in our current cap space and would only cost a draft pick. Jay Snow says, agree, I like Donato. Dire Straits, I have no interest in the Four Nations. And Serve says, I wouldn't trade Mercer at all. I'm definitely interested in the Four Nations. I'm not as excited about it as I am for Olympic hockey, obviously, but as a little precursor to it, best on best international tournament, how can you not like this? This is quality stuff. This is quality. I have like 7 million tabs open on my computer. Oh my God. Guys, can you believe that they pulled this off though? Wow. Wow. Dire Straits. Niedermeyer said in an interview he needed to learn when not to go for it on offense when he was asked to compare himself to Luke. Woodson, if you swap Palat and Mercer for bigger bodies, you may have enough to get the other midgets by. SST, it is also more about this play. Who pays $8 million to a D-man who makes so many turnovers? Chico, I would much rather just wait it out and see if we can't get Palat, Hall, and Tatar off the books in the offseason rather than trade Mercer. Well, Tatar is definitely coming off the books. He's only signed for 1 year this season, so no matter what happens, he is off the books. Carson just continues to enjoy the moment. Apparently, Aho and Mikko already played together in Finland. I heard they were disgusting. Jay Snow, watch Mercer. I love him, but he gets moved off the wall so easily all the time. So does our whole team, Jay Snow. Our whole team does. Woodson says, win now mode, Chico. Win now. Chico says, Devils could win now. John Woodson, if Lou would have waited, would we have 3 cups? Jay Snow, I'd ask Luke to take a bridge deal. Woodson says we could win now, but we don't. Mercer may be one of the few players with trade value. Like, who else can you dangle? No one wants to trade him, but who else would teams want? And this is where I look at trading a guy like Nemitz. I mean, I don't want to, but if you could get the right piece or one of the other defensemen, we have so much defensive depth, it just makes sense. I would rather trade a defensive prospect than Mercer. Jay Snow, if we go into Four Nations sucking, I could care less about Four Nations. SST had a dream last night that the Devils won it all. That's an interesting dream. Chico, Lou did in a literal sense wait for 3 cups. Serve, why isn't anyone talking about how bad Hall has been? He's so bad you guys don't even remember to mention trading him. He has no trade value. Dire Straits says, no, I don't think they can win now, not with this core. Interesting take. Insane Pollock, well, after this trade, I'm guessing we for sure do not want to see the Canes in the playoffs. I certainly do not. I didn't want to see them before, and now I really don't. Jay Edwards, I'm very interested in Four Nations. USA laughing at Canada because they beat our under-20 team, and Canada has a dope team led by McDavid, Marner versus Matthews. I love it. There's a lot of plot lines there. A lot of plot lines. Woodson, if Mercer gets a bridge for being an Iron Man, then Luke is definitely getting a bridge deal. Jay Snow, if the Devils fall out of this, winter's really going to suck. I can't take another wasted season. I'm right there with you. Chico, Devils went to the Eastern Conference Finals in 1998 and then patiently built until they were a real contender in 93, 94, then won in 95, then retooled and built a dominant 2000s Cup champ. Ryan the Man, bring Kyle Palmieri back to the Devils would definitely give us depth scoring. I'm not against Palmieri. I think we could find a better option, but if that turns out to be the best we can get, then I'm all for it. Dire Straits, I agree, Jay Snow. If the Devils go on a bad losing streak, I will not look once at Four Nations. Serve says I'd take Palms back. Woodson, Lou isn't helping us with any of his players, and that's what I said for a while. I don't think Lou could stomach trying or attempting to do a trade that's going to make the Devils better or help them go on a cup run. Terry says the Devils will be fine. Don't worry. Woodson says we haven't been fined for 20 years. Dire Straits says it's true. Woodson says I've been worried. SST Devils should included Lou in the Ring of Honor to please him so he can help us. The Devils still living in their glory years. Stanley says spot on. If you can't dig pucks in the walls, you're going nowhere. Jack McCabe, Ace, there's a knife to your throat. Who are the Devils trading for? I couldn't tell you because I do think Fitz is going to wait. I think, unfortunately, he's shown us a pattern of that. And I don't see him doing anything before the Four Nations. I do think, as someone pointed out, he is going to wait and see how this team looks, I think, heading into the Four Nations before he decides how aggressive he wants to get. I wish he got aggressive now, but it is what it is. Woodson says Lou for Fitz, even at 100 years old. Dire Straits, apparently Lou doesn't want a Ring of Honor now since he's still GM of the Islanders. Well, I think for the first time I could recall in quite a while, Lou was back in the building for the Jacques Lemaire Ring of Honor night. And it was pretty cool. I will say it seemed like nobody went to the one for Sarge. And everyone went for Jacques. I thought that was kind of messed up. Like at Breland's, there was very few guys there, I think. Let me see if I could pull the photo. Yeah, for Sarge, it looks like it was Andy Green, Peter Sikora, Bruce Driver, Colin White, Zajac, Marshall, Dano. Yeah. No Lou, no Stevens, no Needs. Shit, even Marty wasn't there, which I thought was crazy. Yeah, even Marty wasn't there. Super bizarre. Serve Islanders just got one of the most toxic players in Tony D'Angelo. Jeremy Son, Ducks will win the cup before the Devils will. I don't know about that. Dire Straits says, Jeremy, you could thank the Devils for Niedermeyer. And Jeremy says, F the Devils. LJ, wait, Ace, you weren't able to convince Lou to soften up at that dinner and hook us up with some forwards? I tried. I said, send us Brock Nelson for pennies. Jay Edwards, in 2 years when Quinn Hughes' contract is up in Vancouver, he'll be joining his brothers in NJ. I think 3 Hughes, then Devils go on a cup run. When's the last time 3 brothers played on the same team? It's been quite a while. Dire Strait, maybe the Sutter somewhere. It probably was. Chico, Andy Green, man, he deserved better as a Devil. Yeah, he played on a lot of bad teams. A lot of bad teams. Jason, no, I don't blame Fitz for waiting. This team has to prove it. I mean, we're right there. Just push the chips in. Insane Pollock, the next Ring of Honor should be Mike Doc Emmerich. Chico, obviously, very deserving as well. Doc Emmerich is just such a legend. Jay Edwards, Canes don't need to catch Washington. Canes way better team now. Stanley 62495, Jacques is royalty. He might have been the most important decision Lou ever made. One of them for sure. And Dire Straits, so did Travis Zajac. Yeah. And not too far behind them. Well, I guess it was far behind them. But I also put as the next like peg of guys, like Damon Severson was on all those bad teams. And he wasn't on the Cup team, the 2012 Cup team. I think he came a year or two after. Jack McCabe, would you have had John Madden on the Devils quarter century team? So I don't like these teams because I don't know what the criteria is. Are you just picking the best 3 forwards and the best 2 defensemen? Are you trying to pick the team as if they're going to play on the ice, like, and play as a team? Are you trying to pick the best line? Like, the criteria is not clearly spelled out. And so I just think they're picking like the best guys, which, you know, that's one way to do it. Meadowlander on the broadcast, Stevens mentioned he's on the Ring of Honor committee. Do you know who else? To my knowledge, I believe it's Fitz, a couple executives, but I think the main guys are the banner guys. So you're talking about the great Martin Brodeur, Scott Stevens, Ken Danico, Scott Niedermayer, Patrick Eliash, and then the other Ring of Honor guys, which is Breland, and they might let McMullen's son have a say in place of his father. I believe that is the committee. Next Ring of Honor must be Larry and Bernsey. They're both on my list as well. John Woodson, I think I have another thing randomly because someone said Bernsey. I got to put this in a frame. There's Bernsey, 2003 Cup champ. Pat Burns. Nice little signed photo. Zajac, our last top 6 forward that won a board battle for a puck. Zajac was criminally underrated, in my opinion. Jay Snow, Hallinan scored another goal tonight. Why can't they give him an extended look? I was pretty furious about that as well. He played one game and they immediately sent him down. Like, what's going on? Woodson, Jack needs Parisi and Eliash as his wingers to be good. SST, too many honors for Emmerich. I don't know what that means. Jay Snow, Hall is not going to be back this weekend, but we need him to puck up his game. How do you know he's not going to be back? He was on the ice. He was practicing today. Dire Straits, Parisi haters can't deny he was good on the forecheck. Zach was a dog. Pound for pound, one of the toughest players ever. Went to the dirty areas, could score on breakaways, wristers, rebounds. I loved Zach Parisi. John Woodson, Parisi ate along the boards and in front of the net. That's why I'm so mad at this team. R.I.P. Pat Burns. Jay Snow, I'm dying for a guy who's a monster on the wall. Dire Straits is Zubris, man. What a heavy, heavy man. Him and Yager, I was talking about this in, I think, the last post-game live. Him, Yager, and I think was it him, Yager, and Zajac? They had some dominant shifts. They would pin teams in. Your favorite image in the Devils' history is what, SST? Stanley 6495. Absolutely Woodson. I cannot stand the lack of grit in these players. It's disgusting. I agree there as well. SJ Parisi sucks. Left us to win no cups. Holla did not travel with the team. Okay, so I saw that he practiced. So he practiced and didn't travel. Jason, they need a player in the locker room who puts that FU in his game. Yeah, we don't have many of them. Cotter's definitely one of them. Dire Straits, Parisi wasn't a big dude either. No excuse for Jack Hughes. Zach was kind of jacked up for a little guy. And with all due respect to Jack Hughes, Zach Parisi is a much tougher player than him. It's not even close. Zubris would be a sight for sore eyes. Monster on the wall. Metalander, it may sound crazy, but if you were there since the beginning like me, you'd want to see McLean on the Ring of Honor. He scored all the big goals in the beginning. I get it, too. I get it. He had the team points record forever till Patty broke it. But for me, Metalander, just because he only has that one cup and kind of the way he left, I would put so many other guys in before him. I'm not opposed to him getting in, but I just think there's so many other guys that deserve it more than him, in my opinion. Woodson says Hall is finished. Just buy him out and say thank you. I heard Carter Hart could play for the Flyers again. That would be shocking. Val says I would trade Siegs or Dougie before Kovacevic. SST, Bernsey lifting the cup is my favorite image in Devils history. It's a pretty cool one. It's not my favorite, but it's a pretty cool one. And then since we're talking about Bernsey, I have another piece here that I'll show that I just got recently. This is a lineup card from November 12th, 03. So this is the 03-04 season. But if you look there, it's signed by Burns. My camera has the autofocus off because it's annoying. But this is the roster of guys. Brodeur, Schwab, Stevens, White, Abilene. I think that's Rasmussen, Madden, Friesen, Gianta, Langenbrunner, Rupp, Berglund, Breland, Pandolfo, Gomez, Stevenson, Hale, Eliash, Niedermeyer, Rafalski, and then signed by Burnsy on the bottom. This was, I thought, a super sick piece. I had to get it. I have so much shit that I have to put away on my desk. Jay Edwards, nice pick. Got it signed too. That's cool, bro. I know where Leafs chill. The real sports bar besides the Scotiabank Arena. I met Shanahan there like 8 years ago, second floor. Love Shanny. Dire Straits, remember the fourth line in 2012? Carter, Gianta, and Bernier. They were great. They were good forecheckers. Probably the best fourth line in Devils history since the crash line. Woodson Seeks is a left-handed defenseman. Doesn't really make room for Nemitz. They said Hall is practicing but won't return this weekend. Okay. Trading Kadri was stupid. Stanley 62495 McLean really shit the bed, though. Cried about playing time and then coached the worst half season in NHL history. And then after he got canned, we had to get Jacques Lemaire back. Remember, who could ever forget David Clarkson? What a legend. He ragdolled Sean Avery a couple times. He had some big goals in that 2012 run. SST Hadeka can easily replace Siegs. Woodson says Hadeka can, but there's literally no one behind him that can take his place if he gets hurt again. They'd have to get a depth left-handed D-man, which I'm all for. Holt sent to the AHL. Woodson says, now that's a lineup card. Metalander, my favorite image is Peluso during 95 Cup win losing control of his emotions. Yeah, crying on the bench in the final moments. Big Mike Peluso, what a legend. What a legend. Lindy is living now. Holt's in the AHL. Woodson says, my God, how far we fell. It's so true. Jay Snow, I know, but if we're stuck with Hall, I need him to produce. Don't hold your breath, bruh. Jay Edwards, Leafs in 1991 made worse trade. Scott Niedermeyer draft pick for Tom Curvers. Leafs got robbed on that one. Yeah, you win some, you lose some. SST says, send me that roster as a 5K giveaway gift. Keep dreaming. Stanley, I can remember being so excited in summer 02 when I heard Lou landed Burns. He knew we were going to have a special season. Godspeed, Pat. What a legend. What a season. Woodson says, you greedy bastard. Remember when Kobe beat up Shen? I think it was Shen that season. Yes. Flyers, Devils. Kobe hit him with an overhand on the jaw and buried him. Kovalchuk, some people don't realize, Kovalchuk was a monster of a man. He was absolutely massive. And I remember him just kind of dragging Shen around before he finally hit him with that shot. Can you guys hear me? I hit the mic. I'm hoping it worked. I tapped it accidentally. Last time a forward beat up anyone, he KO'd him. No, he crushed him. Can you hear me? I did hit the mic, but I thought it was fine. I thought it recovered. I hit it by accident. Jay Snow, we've been garbage for way too long. This team needs to start consistently making deep playoff runs. Yeah, I agree, but, you know, and that's why I was livid that we did nothing to bring in goalie help last season. I thought after the 22-20, I got to put the light on now. We're over the, hold on, back 1 second. Yeah, I don't want to watch non-playoff teams. And once we made it in 22-23, I thought that was it. That had to be the turnaround. We didn't. Hold on 1 second. Once we made the playoffs, there should have been no turning back, and that's why I'm furious about last season. I did hit the mic, but it somehow didn't completely derail it. Wasted youth comics and action figures. Avs lost that trade. Natchez the faker. It went out for a second. I looked out. I did. Over under. Allen gives a 5-goal Saturday. I got 500 on the under. I got 5 honeybees on the under. Metalander. When the Curvers trade went down, the Leafs were not a top 3 draft pick. They tanked and the puck moved up for us. The pick. Jack McCabe. Hot take. Allen shits out the Canadians on tomorrow. Devils win 4-0. Are you going with a shutout, huh? I would like to see that. Joshua Lee, we even had LTIR money last season and Fitz blew it. Again, to revisit last season, that was, again, one of the reasons I was so livid was we had the Dougie LTIR money. We did not spend it. We did not bring in goalie help until the deadline day when it was too late. And we not only did we get 1 goalie, we got 2. We got Allen and Kakinen. Very bizarre. SST says Allen will save our season. Evan Spitzberg, Allen can hold down the fort a couple weeks. I'm concerned if we have to play Dawes or Poulter after the 4 Nations. Well, it seems like Markey will come back shortly after the 4 Nations. So I don't think that it's that much of a concern as long as Allen could hold down the fort. Is the game at 7 tomorrow? Yes. Live from Montreal, Quebec. John Woodson, Allen is only 0.04 worse of a career save percentage compared to Markey. I know, I think, but people are just looking at Woodson, the eye test, what we have been seeing from Jacob Markstrom in the last, the last couple of weeks. Jacob Markstrom has been godlike. I mean, some of the saves, multiple save of the year candidates in the same game against the Kraken. Just an absolute monster. Unhinged Devs fan, what's going on? Yo, let's go Devils. Woodson gives you the Allen 907, the Markey 911. Jake Allen is a Stanley Cup champion. And then Woodson says if he could play at 907, we will make the playoffs. LTIR is cap relief, not free money. Metalander, I know. But in the end, you're not truly trying to win if you don't spend the money. And that's frustrating to me because I understand it's not free money that the owners still have to pay it, but it's money you're allowed to spend. And so, to me, it just means that your cap went up and you're not spending to the cap by not spending the money. I think if you're truly trying to win now, you spend all that LTIR money like the Lightning did, like the Golden Knights have done. They've showed you that is a blueprint there. If you have LTIR money, you spend that shit. You spend all of it making your team as good as you possibly can, and not spending the cap, the LTIR money means you're truly, to me, that you're not truly trying to win the cup. SJ, but when the main 4 don't score, the Devils don't score. It's annoying. SST, can't believe this Rantanen live has been going on for 2 hours. Devils must be in trouble. Then we're talking about all kinds of stuff here. Jack McCabe, there are no back-to-backs until the end of February, I think, so Allen might get all the games until then. If not, Dawes Poulter plays a shitty team. Yeah, but sports science, sports analytics. There's analytics out there, Jack. 4 games in 7 nights. I think that's inhumane. They can't play Allen 4 games in 7 nights. Dawes is going to get one of those. Crosby's not going to the Avs. That was just, I think, started by Biz trying to be funny. Jason, the Devils have to score 3 goals. That's the magic number for us. I mean, you shouldn't struggle scoring 3 goals with the lineup we have. Insane Pollock, Ace, did you see Ottinger save tonight? Another save of the year candidate. I have not seen anything yet. I was actually out. And then when this trade went down, and I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. Jason, no, our decor was so bad last year, we weren't going anywhere. I still value making the playoffs. For young kids to just keep getting into the playoffs to get that learning experience and see what it's all about. Woodson, Rantanen is the shiny object we've never been able to have since Covey. Jack McCabe's 4 goals is the magic number. Evan, does Keefe adjust the system for the team to score more goals and keep the same defensive pressure since Markey is out? I think they're going to play the same game. I don't think it's going to affect the game at all in terms of preparation. I think they're going to have to figure out what the lines are going to be now because there's going to be some changes. Woodson, I just want to see Poulter once. So do I. I want to see Poulter for sure. Jack McCabe, Devils need a faceoff guy. Can't count how many times Devils have lost the key faceoff in a big spot in the game. Jay Snow, before last game, we didn't score 4 goals in almost 4 weeks. Yep, it was December 27th against the Hurricanes. Would you part with Nemitz for O'Reilly plus? I think at this point I would. I originally said no, but at some point you just gotta go for it. And continually to talk about the future is why we've been so bad for so long. And we still have Casey, we have Salayev. Even if Nemitz turns out to be a great one, I can't look back. I make the deal, I think. SJ, I think the captain is key. The Devils seem to always win when he scores, but he goes quiet often. He's also he's responsible to play some lockdown defense on some of the best players in the league. Keep in mind, he is a two-way player. Woodson, 3 years of O'Reilly for Nemitz, no thanks. He said plus though. If you get another pick or a prospect in there, I think I would entertain it. He says not even for Mercer. Jay Edwards, Crosby most likely on the move. Dubas knows he is just about done, and all teams want a center. There was a 4-piece move from the Leaves in the first, I believe. I don't think Crosby wants to leave. Dire Straits, I would just like them to keep the puck in the other team's zone for more than 30 seconds. LJ, Ace, did you catch the Gomer spit and chicklets? The Lou photos had me in stitches. Absolutely, LJ. I saw it shortly after it came out. And Gomer's got he's got the 2 photos. He said the Lou photos are going to let you know what kind of meeting it's going to be. He has the photo of Lou smiling and then Lou with like a stern face. And he picks the one. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, I was dying when I saw that. Jay Snow, we lose Allen. We're really screwed. They're not going to overplay him. John Woodson, you don't go for it with being 4-11-4 in the last stretch. I mean, we're going to see. There's a lot of hockey left. I'm pushing the chips in, at least some of them. SJ, I'm actually curious to see Poulter. Imagine he's a stud. I mean, I saw him play 2 games live in the ECHL. Very different than, the AHL and the NHL. But he looked pretty solid in the playoffs for the Adirondack Thunder last year. I went to game 6 and 7. Jay Snow, yeah, because Nico's our only good faceoff guy. John Woodson, we win 1 game in Ace now as hope. Oh, no, don't get suckered in, brother. Listen, maybe I am delusional. I don't think I am. We saw what the team looked like in December. All the guys now, minus Markstrom, obviously, because he went down. But what other than an extended slump, what is the reason? Well, for what reason would they not be able to look closer to that team that we saw? They set an NHL record. 7 straight games, 20 shots or less. Like, we have all the guys. Jack says O'Reilly can be that guy. I love that dude. Yeah, I like him a lot. Jay Edwards, Crosby would do what's best for his team. As a team captain, I would. If you could get 4 pieces in return for my final year, I would waive my clause. Crosby signed for 3 years, I think. It's not like this is the last. Oh, no, he did 2 years. Okay, so he signed 2 years. Yeah, he signed for this year and next year. So it's not like, that if he stays there, it went to waste. I'll tell you this. I mean, it'll never happen for so many reasons. But if somehow they were able to try to get Sid, I would overpay ridiculously to get Sidney Crosby. It's never going to happen. But if in some world it was a possibility, I would overpay ridiculously to get Sidney Crosby just because, and be happy about overpaying. Gonna hate, but Hall wins faceoffs. Let's see what he does when he comes back. McLeod's done, man. It's over. Let it go, dog. It's over. Jack McCabe. He does, but again, that's only two or four guys that can win a big draw. Jack certainly can't, and Lazar Dowling have been a rotating door. Need a rock-solid guy there. Stanley says Hall has been banged up, and the Devils still haven't looked well without him this last stretch. Guy gets too much shit. SJ, can't see sit on another team. Neither can I. Jay Edwards, yeah, so next year maybe his last. Dubas, Smart GM, Malkin, Carlson on table too. Supposedly, I saw a thing the other day that said the big guns were not available, so I'm curious to know if that's changed. Jay Snow, 1.8 goals a game in our last 11 games, and our shooting percentage went down the crapper. John Woodson, Dowling has been beyond solid for what he is. I agree there as well. Started off the season in Utica and is now our third-line center, seemingly going to play with Timo Meier and Dawson Mercer. David, if Sid ever wants to be moved, I think he would want to play in Colorado with Nate and McCarr. I agree with you there as well. John Woodson, Sid and Jack could start a flag hockey league. No touching. Oh, man. Whew. I hated his whining back when he entered the league. He's gotten, he's kind of. And you can't deny Sid's greatness. It's crazy. It's crazy how good he's been for so long. Next season, it'll mark 20 years since he broke into the league. I'll have a special Sidney Crosby tribute. I have a great Sid NHL debut story. Jay Snow, the scoring's the issue. The defense has gotten back on track, but we keep scoring 1 goal a game. I agree. The offense is the issue here. Steady Stroker 94. We have to upgrade our lineup. A team is only as good as its top opposition. Jack McCabe, our shooting percentage is in the toilet, and the Caps have 8 guys shooting over 15%. Crazy. Jack, if you had told me that Timo Meier's center at one point in the season would be Justin Dowling, I'd admit you to a mental hospital, and I would be right there with you. I would have been like, I'm sorry, what? The fact that Dowling got into the lineup and then got elevated from 4th line to 3rd line, and then with the lines getting all jumbled, Timo down to the 3rd, Dowling centering Timo Meier is certainly one of the most unlikely things that has happened, in my opinion. I agree with you there, Jack. Jay Edwards, the wanting from Pens, from my understanding, for Sid was Hildeby, Nyes, first pick, and Minton. That's too much, even though Nyes needs contract too. Jay Snow, the Caps finish at an insane number. Stanley, Sid was a bit much for those first few years, but he's an incredible player. Respect. Yeah, I agree. John Woodson, Sid is great, but he could be a little loved walking out of the Peru Center chanting Crosby sucks. I don't like those chants. I just think they're stupid. Like, Crosby definitely doesn't suck. He's one of the greatest players of all time. I get that people like stupid fan chants, but I always thought it was a little bit silly. Anyone have anything else? Man, I've been on here for a while again. I've been on here for a while. If anyone's got any closing questions, thoughts, comments, psychotic rants, if the Devs win the cup, what's your dream route to the cup? Do you mean like if you could go back and like pick who they beat on the way? Is that what you mean by that, Jack? I mean, beating the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. Is that even a... Let me see something. I guess it'd be Canes. I guess Canes, Rangers, and then the Panthers. Canes, rival, Rangers, rival, Panthers, defending Cup champs, and then in the West, whoever it is, whether it's the Jets, Stars, whoever. Anson Meadows with the super chat. Thank you very much. Thanks for the stream and update, bro. Till next time. Cheers. Cheers to you, Anson. Thank you for the super chat. Have a good night, early morning, whatever it is, where you are. But thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, probably Canes, Rangers, Panthers, and then whoever in the West. I just looked directly into the light, and now I'm blind. I don't mind the Rangers suck chance. I don't like the Crosby sucks. And I don't like the chance of you suck after the goals. Like idiots are saying it when we're down 5-1. Like, you suck. I think it's stupid. Joseph, if Gary Glitter dies, can we bring back Rock and Roll Part 2? I would love nothing more than to get Rock and Roll Part 2 back. Metalander, need Jake to stand on his head in that heavy forecheck we saw against Boston to win tomorrow. Hope we see it. Hope we see it. Jay Snow, all right, fellas, we're doing a big pregame show, Ace. Are you talking about tomorrow? I don't think so. I'm not going to say definitely, or I think my nephew has wrestling again, and I think it's late. And so if his wrestling, if time allows, I'll try it. But I think it seems unlikely, I believe, based on the time of his wrestling. I think. Jay Edwards, Pittsburgh definitely set everything on the table. I watch a lot of trade rumor videos. They want to rebuild. Their players are old and want to unload and get something rather than nothing, just like the Avs did. Well, if that's truly the case, I'd be definitely seeing what's up with Geno Malkin. Whew. Give me some Geno Malkin, baby. Oh, man. Geno on this team? That gives you a lot of options. Geno Malkin. John Woodson, beat the Canes, Rangers, Panthers, and the Kings just because we owe them. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, you're right, Woodson. Or Avalanche. Yeah, a team that beat us in the finals. So, yeah, I said Canes, Rangers, Panthers. Yeah, so then it'd be Kings or Avs. Would be talk about Fantasyland. Jack Woodson, I want to beat Kings or Avs in the final. Yeah, for sure. That's the path. That's it. Canes, Rangers, Panthers, and then Kings or Avalanche in the finals would be like the revenge tour of revenge tours. Would be absolutely beautiful to see that happen. Anyone else? Closing time. Regardless of the moves Fitz makes, does this Devil team beat the Canes in round 1? They could. The biggest question mark is going to be Jacob Markstrom. Can he be the true X factor and steal some games? And I think he could. But this team is going to have to get a lot more physical. The physicality is going to need to return because what we've been seeing as of late, that's just not going to get it done. Absolutely not getting it done. Got to be heavier, edgier, more violent. For sure. All right, that's it. We're out of steam here. It's all over. Thank you for joining me on this disappointing evening where a division rival just loaded up the choppers. Taylorhall and Rantanen. What a night. What a night to be a Hurricanes fan. Wow. Wow. Please hit the thumbs up if you haven't. Hit the like. Hit the like for your boy. Your New Jersey Devils back in action in Montreal tomorrow evening. Hopefully, Jake Allen plays a stellar game against his former club and backstops the Devils to another massive victory, building off of the big win over the Bruins in Jacques Lemaire Ring of Honor night. And we gotta hold it down for Markey. Gotta hold it down for Markey. And that's it, guys. I will see some of you tomorrow after the game. Hopefully, we are drinking Victory vodka. And that's it. That's it. What a night. The Hurricanes are more dangerous than they were a couple hours ago. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.